We are about to begin the roll call of freshman houses. As each house is announced, please join me in welcoming the flag bearer from your house. Would the banner bearer from Politics and Public Policy at Thurston please come forward? Would the banner bearer from the School of Engineering and Applied Science at Lafayette please come forward? Would the banner bearer from the Honors House at Lafayette please come forward? Would the banner bearer from Business and Entrepreneurship at Crawford please come forward? Would the banner bearer from Media and Public Affairs at Summers at Mount Vernon please come forward? Would the banner bearer from Humanities and Sports Studies at Madison please come forward? Would the banner bearer for the Science Village at Meriwether, Clark, Hensley, and Cole at Mount Vernon please come forward? Would the banner bearer from the Culture and Arts House at Mitchell and Strong please come forward? Would the banner bearer from Sustainability and Environmental Education at 2034 G Street please come forward? Would the banner bearer from the Women's Leadership Program at Summers at Mount Vernon please come forward? Would the banner bearer from Global Perspectives and Diplomacy at Potomac please come forward? Would the banner bearer from Education and Public Service at Thurston, also representing freshmen, please come forward? Ladies and gentlemen, the banner bearers from the class of 2013. Now, Millicent Scarlett, a professor in the Department of Music, will lead us in the singing of a famous song, the national anthem. Thereafter, Ms. Scarlett will perform a song that will become famous to you, the university's alma mater. Ladies and gentlemen, Millicent Scarlett. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my very great pleasure to introduce to you your Dean of Freshmen, Fred Siegel.
Thank you, Professor Castle. The entire GW community continues to be enriched by your own grace and spirit. It is my pleasure this afternoon to extend a warm welcome not only to my faculty and staff colleagues, but especially to the class of 2013. This convocation is the official start of your academic careers, and we hope that the excitement you feel this weekend extends to your entire GW experience. Since the earliest days of organized academic life, now dating back nearly 1,000 years, universities have marked the beginning of the academic year with a convocation that celebrates academic pursuits and welcomes their newest students to the academic community. With today's convocation, GW pays tribute to that long-standing tradition. Indeed, this convocation is one of a pair of bookends around your time at GW. Today we have the privilege of welcoming you as duly certified citizens in the community of scholars. Then, in a bit less than 4 years, you will get to experience the other bookend. That is, of course, your graduation. What you've started here today and in the classroom tomorrow will end when you throw your caps into the air at the conclusion of your graduation ceremony and join the ranks of the distinguished GW alumni. You may remember that at CI I made a commitment to meet at least 1,000 of you personally during the fall semester. Well, the clock begins ticking on that commitment just as soon as we leave the Smith Center today and assemble on the university yard for the barbecue. But please begin to meet me at least halfway by introducing yourselves at Welcome Week events and meeting me throughout the semester at freshman feasts, the freshman house tour, and individual appointments in my office. Remember, you need not have a problem to make an appointment. Letting me know how your first few weeks of school have gone is surely reason enough to stop by. I encourage you, too, to meet and engage your university guides to personal success, who stand as ready as I do to make your transition to GW smooth and successful. I want to remind you, too, as I'm sure that many of us will, that September 11th will mark GW's first Freshman Day of Service, a program which we hope will include every member of the class of 2013 and will become a signature annual event for GW, defining service as a fundamental value of our entire community. The GW community has always been defined by its service to the local community and to the society writ large. In that vein, I'm pleased to report that your reactions to our freshman reading program have been nothing short of inspiring to me. If the effort and the sincerity you brought to bear in the reading carries over into your lives as students here, I know that the class of 2013 will make GW a significantly better place. In addition, we hope that you will continue to engage us on the themes of the book in activities that are being planned in the classrooms, in the residence halls, and elsewhere. Now that I have read your over 300 essays and reactions, I'm ready to announce the winners of our competition. Believe me when I say that it was almost impossible to narrow the field to these 28 students, and I congratulate everyone who shared their reactions with me. So in no particular order, here are the winners. Listen up. Samantha Rogers, Krista Mancini, Rebecca Yurko, Christopher Bernal Garcia, Courtney Jolene, Yushuan Shen, Cody Lee, Michael Shump, Joyce Wellborn, Maria Tsai, Alyssa Kaplan, Richard Ingebretson, Alyssa Orlando, Dina Schalk, Min Kim Kin Yim, Sarah Kalin, Alexander Shaper, Kevin Curtin, Jackson Costco, Preston Reynolds, Jordan Frank, Kevin Dorr, Daniel Morales, Kendra Poole, Katie Giordano, Christian Ewing, Andrew Sherlock, and Haley Hakimian. Congratulations. Congratulations to all. We will be in touch with you over the next few weeks to announce the date for the dinner, which we expect will be held in the middle of the academic year. My final thought for today will probably sound redundant, and I mean it to be so. You learned from me at CI that 24 times 7 is, thank you, 168, and how I want you to think about your 100 discretionary hours. I want to remind you as well of some advice I received from a colonial cabinet member a few years ago, and that is just how much one can do in 15 minutes. Whether you solve a calculus problem, visit a professor to ask a question, call a friend, run an errand, or perhaps even visit President Knapp when he holds his own office hours. There are 400 15-minute discretionary blocks in your week, and using as many of them as possible, as effectively as you can, will produce results that will exceed even your own expectations. The speakers who follow me today, President Knapp, Executive Vice President Lehman, Chris Diaz, and your deans, all have wonderful things to share with you about your GW experience ahead, and I encourage you to consider their words carefully and intently. Therefore, it gives me great pleasure now to introduce our next speaker, whose vision for GW has been clear and whose accomplishments in the last 2 years will have a lasting effect on the George Washington University. His themes of a lifelong and worldwide community, sustainability, public service, and community partnerships have built the strongest possible foundation for your lifelong success and our continued impact on our community, our country, and our world. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege to introduce the 16th President of the George Washington University, Dr. Steven Knapp.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Siegel, for the kind introduction. Good afternoon. On behalf of the trustees, the deans, all my colleagues on the faculty and staff, it's a pleasure to welcome you, the class of 2013, to the vibrant, engaged community of scholars that is the George Washington University, and to welcome you at the same time to the worldwide and lifelong community that now connects you with 25,000 current students and some 220,000 alumni around the world. Within that community, you'll find friends and mentors who will support you, guide you, and open doors for you for the rest of your lives. But you're not just joining a new community. You've come to an amazing place at a truly amazing time. You're entering an historic institution, and you're doing so at an extraordinary moment in history. Last November 4th, a little after 11 p.m., thousands of GW students streamed to Lafayette Square directly across from the White House to celebrate the first election of a person of African descent to the nation's highest office. This past summer, GW faculty members led by Sarah Rosenbaum in our Department of Health, Policy, and Management have played a key role, lending their expertise to inform a highly contentious national debate on the future of health care. Others are helping to shape the future of foreign policy, homeland security, science policy, and the intellectual property laws that have such a powerful influence on innovation in technology and the arts. In short, no matter what you study, no matter where you are on the spectrum of political opinion, you'll enjoy the privilege as a GW student of a front row seat in the theater of history that no other university can provide. We are, after all, a university with a unique relation to American history, and in particular to the American presidency. While some other universities are older, and while a number have larger campuses or larger endowments, we are quite simply the one and only university that was dreamed of and called for by America's first president, and that proudly bears his full name. In his last will and testament, George Washington stated his ardent wish to establish a national university that would draw students to the capital from around the country, a community of scholars in which they would overcome their local prejudices, forge a shared identity, and be transformed together into the citizen leaders of the new democracy. Now, as it happened, Washington's vision could not be realized until more than 20 years after his death. Columbian College, as it was then called, was first established on what is now Meridian Hill, just outside the boundaries of the city of Washington at the time. It later moved to 15th and 8th Streets on the other side of the White House and did not arrive at its current location in Foggy Bottom until 1912. But from the very beginning, this university has been part of the fabric of this great capital city and the nation it symbolizes, participating in one way or another in every event that has shaped that nation's growth, from the Civil War through 2 world wars and then through the Civil Rights Movement that culminated 46 years ago just a few blocks to the south of where we are gathered this afternoon, when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his most famous speech. He gave that speech on the National Mall, where this past spring, as we do each year, we gathered for commencement. A crowd of 25,000 graduates and their families stretched over 3 full blocks, midway between the Capitol and the Washington Monument. As students at GW, once again, you have a front row seat in the theater of history. You also have a chance to be more than a spectator. You have an opportunity, indeed many opportunities, to participate. Pick any decade from the history of this institution, and the testimonials of students to their experiences are extraordinary. And here's just one example from a book published on the occasion of our 175th anniversary. The book's title is From Strength to Strength, a pictorial history of the George Washington University. And this particular account is by a student who graduated in 1980. During his 4 years at GW, he wrote, he, quote, had met former Vice President Hubert Humphrey only 4 weeks before he died, watched Jimmy Carter walk down Pennsylvania Avenue on Inauguration Day, dined at the Georgetown home of one of his own state's senators, watched Pope John Paul II give a speech on the front lawn of the White House, seen the treasures of King Tut at the National Gallery, celebrated the 100th anniversary of the Washington Post at a party given by the late publisher Katharine Graham, endured tear gas from park police while observing a political rally on the Ellipse, observed Israel and Egypt sign a peace treaty, and protested at an embassy with 200 other Washington area residents. While your years at GW, I can predict with confidence, will be no less exciting than those. And one of the ways in which you'll be able to connect with history will be the many avenues GW offers for engaging in public service. A passion for service, in fact, is one of the hallmarks of a GW student. Take the example of Anna Phillips, class of 2008. In 2004, on a trip to Africa, she had noticed that African women often sat on the sidelines while men played sports. So in 2006, she created a soccer program called Girls Kick It, designed to empower Ugandan women and to develop the confidence and sense of teamwork she herself experienced as a GW rugby player. She went on to win a Fulbright scholarship that enabled her to spend last year running her program in Uganda. She's now back at GW working on her master's degree in international development. The spirit of service that Anna embodies has long been a part of the GW culture. Consider Dr. Bill McGee, the medical school graduate who in 1982 founded Operation Smile, which offers free surgery around the world for children with severe facial deformities. Since its inception, Operation Smile's volunteer physicians and medical students, including many from GW, have treated more than 130,000 children. Or consider the 4 GW undergraduates who started an organization called Bana, a word that means build or create in Arabic, to provide scholarships for Sudanese refugees. The first recipient was Makwe Mabior Deng, who arrived at GW last fall. The terms of his scholarship require him to return to the Sudan after he graduates so he can help his country work toward peace. Bana is now working to found similar chapters on other college campuses, reaching a total of 9 the last time I counted. In less than 2 weeks, on September 11th, as you've heard from Dean Siegel, you'll have a chance to follow these GW exemplars by participating in our newly established Freshman Day of Service. Activities will focus on supporting veterans who live in the greater Washington area. The Day of Service will kick off a year-long theme of public service, which we'll use to organize events throughout the year in something like the way we used the theme of the presidential transition last year. You can sign up easily on the web. Just type Freshman Day of Service into the search field on the university's newly designed main webpage. This week, by the way, the importance, of course, of public service has been brought home to all of us by the passing of Senator Edward M. Kennedy, in whose honor flags on our campus and across the nation have been lowered to half-mast this weekend. So far, I have focused on ways in which the members of our university community engage in community service. But what about the university? What about the institution as a whole? In what ways is GW itself, and not just its individual students, staff, and faculty, embracing the values of public service and global citizenship? One way certainly is through our efforts to become a model of urban sustainability. Perhaps more than any initiative in recent years, this one has been driven by the passion as well as the intellectual interests of our students. 2 years ago, I launched the Sustainability Task Force, and by the end of my first year, we had already implemented several of the most important recommendations. In April 2008, GW became the first university in the District of Columbia to sign the American College and University President's Climate Commitment. Later that same year, we created the university's first Office of Sustainability, and the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences established the GW Solar Institute. Last year, we finished the carbon inventory that we can now use to measure our progress toward carbon neutrality. The deans are actively recruiting policy experts as well as scientists and engineers who are studying alternative energy sources on our science and technology campus in Northern Virginia. This past year, we held 2 joint symposiums on urban sustainability with the District of Columbia government, and our aim in all these areas is to lead by example. For instance, through the high environmental standards met by our newest student residence, South Hall, just across the street from where we are, as well as by discovery through the rapidly expanding research efforts of our faculty and students. Sustainability is only one of the many fields in which we are raising our preeminence as a research university and developing innovative solutions to local, national, and global problems. Consider the example of GW biology professor James Clark. Partnering with Chinese scientist Xu Xing, he recently discovered fossil evidence of a beaked, plant-eating dinosaur with a unique configuration of fingers that makes it a kind of missing link, explaining how ancient dinosaurs evolved into modern birds. Or consider Valerie Hu, a professor of biochemistry and molecular biology, who has discovered a biomarker that could lead to the early diagnosis and treatment of autism. Well, by now you may be wondering what all this means to you. Where will you make your personal mark, and how will you personally contribute, both in your time here as a student and in your future career? The truth is, there's no way of predicting how your interests will change and grow as you learn from the faculty, and just as important, as you learn from your fellow students, that extraordinary community drawn from all walks of life, all 50 states, and some 130 countries around the world. You may well change your major many times, and there are parents here, and I do want to say to the parents, don't worry, nothing wrong with changing majors, and nothing wrong, in fact, with doing it many times. You may well take a course in a field you never dreamed would interest you, and you may well find in the process a passion that will feed and guide you for the rest of your life. Whatever field you do end up choosing, you will find that extraordinary community I mentioned earlier, that lifelong and worldwide community of GW alumni ready and eager to help you and to help you succeed. Many of our alumni stand ready to begin that process even before you graduate. Again, I'll give you one example. Pierre Vigilance, class of 1991, currently director of the DC Department of Health. He was in office only 100 days when he was approached by students from the GW School of Public Health and Health Services, who had specific ideas about how the department might be improved by a more robust use of information technology. Together, these current and future alumni developed a state-of-the-art report card system to monitor health services from the city, from across the city. Okay, one last example. Mary Ann Zellner, also from the class of 1991, and now a producer of NBC's Today Show. She returned to GW to give a talk in which she answered the question, how do I become a network TV producer? It was attended by then GW senior John Estrada. They met afterwards, and Mary Ann helped John secure an internship that opened the door to his broadcasting career. And when she was asked about her interest in launching students like John on their careers, she replied, and quoting her now, "I love to help students. GW was such a key part of my life. I was happy to be able to help others and give back." And I can't tell you how many times I've encountered exactly that sentiment as I've visited now something close to 20,000 alumni all around the world. So Colonials, while the path you will actually take is still unknown, you will have the example of earlier Colonials to guide and inspire you, and you will have their practical help in getting you started. So immerse yourself in the history that surrounds you, the history that has already been made, and the history that is being made and will be yours to make. Plunge into this vibrant academic environment and this fascinating cosmopolitan city. Seize this moment in your lives and in our times. And if you do, I have no doubt that you'll look back on this first year at GW and at this, your own inauguration day, with satisfaction and with pride. Congratulations, best of luck, and welcome to the George Washington University.
It is now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Chris Diaz. Chris graduated in May from the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences with a degree in criminal justice. Starting this fall, he will serve as a Presidential Administrative Fellow in the Colonial Inauguration Office while working toward a master's degree in higher education at the Graduate School of Education and Human Development. As an undergraduate, Chris served as a guide to personal service mentor and tutored math and English at Thurgood Marshall Academy. He also served as a member of Colonial Cabinet, president of Phi Sigma Pi National Co-ed Honors Fraternity, and campus coordinator for Teach for America. At the 2009 commencement ceremony, Chris was awarded the Manat Trachtenberg Prize, awarded each year to the graduating senior who, in the words of the citation, has most significantly challenged the social and intellectual conscience of the George Washington University while displaying leadership, competence, integrity, and goodwill in carrying out university responsibilities. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Diaz.
Thank you. Class of 2013, I am so excited and honored to be addressing you this afternoon. Just 4 short years ago, I sat where you are now, trying to absorb all the information being thrown my way and wondering how I was going to survive the next 4 years of my life. Here's my first 2 pieces of advice. You will manage to make sense of all the information, and you will survive the next 4 years. And I hope that you will, like me, love spending the next 4 years at GW. I grew up in South Florida, the son of 2 Cuban immigrants who had to give up everything to start a new life here. I attended Catholic school for the first 18 years of my life, served as an altar boy, and was the voice of the conservative students. I took a self-guided tour of GW when I was a junior in high school and knew this was the school for me. Perhaps if I had taken one of the official tours of GW, I might have thought twice about coming to a school here since the GW student body is a pretty liberal group and I come from a conservative background. So here's my other piece of advice. Trust your instincts. During my sophomore year, I was treasurer of the GW chapter of the College Republicans. By the way, I hope all Republicans in the audience, all 5 of you, will join the CRs this year. In February of my sophomore year, some members of the executive board of the College Republicans decided to hold an event in support of so-called traditional marriage. The idea was to pass out pieces of wedding cake to students who support conventional marriage. Suddenly, I was thrown into a crisis. I was a closeted gay member of an organization whose views on marriage were very much in conflict with my own. One of the things I learned growing up is that there's a right way to debate an issue and a wrong way to debate an issue, and passing out wedding cake in support of traditional marriage values was the wrong way, if for no other reason than the event completely excluded me and my values. Luckily, 5 other members of the executive board felt the same way, and we voted 6-4 against the event. Regrettably, due to certain provisions in our chapter's constitution, the vote against the event did not settle the issue and the event took place. But the event was not as dispiriting to me as it might have been. The organizers of the event ordered wedding cake with confetti sprinkles on top, and all students who claimed to be against gay marriage were given a piece of cake with a rainbow of colors inside, completely unaware, apparently, that rainbow is the symbol of gay rights. Not surprisingly, I chose not to continue my involvement with the CRs after that year. But I also realized that it was time for me to be who I am. So here's my next piece of advice. At GW, you are going to learn something about yourself that you didn't know before. You're going to learn as much outside the classroom as you do inside the classroom. You're going to realize that you won't be the same person on graduation day as you were when you moved into your freshman residence hall. Don't by any means throw away everything you've learned up to now, but do embrace the opportunity to learn something new. You may realize, as I did during my undergraduate career, that it's time for a new path. Take the new path. University life will be challenging. You're going to experience things that will drag you out of your comfort zone. You may meet someone who could become your best friend, only to realize that that person holds views that are totally different from your own. That's okay. You're still allowed to be friends. I know this may seem like common sense, but it's actually one of the most difficult lessons to learn. One of our slogans at GW is, "Something happens here." As you embark on your time at GW, I challenge each of you to figure out a way, both on an individual and collective level, to leave your mark at GW. Good luck with the next 4 years of your life, and welcome to GW. Thank you.
It's now my pleasure to introduce the Chief Academic Officer of the University, the Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, Dr. Donald R. Lehman.
Thank you very much, Jill, and good afternoon. It's really a great pleasure to welcome all of you to GW, students, parents, relatives, and friends. To those of you who are accompanying the class of 2013, thank you for all you have done to bring these talented and motivated students to GW. To the class of 2013, I extend a warm welcome on behalf of the entire GW faculty. We are very glad to have you here, and we are eager to be a part of your intellectual and personal journey. For much of your lives, this moment has been a goal, a finish line to be reached after years of hard work. I commend you on that hard work and ask you to consider this question. What are you going to do with these four years to carve out a path for your life? And further, how are you going to find that special field or subject that lights your intellectual fire? These are sizable queries, and on the face of it, they may seem insurmountable at this point in your brand new college career. While your outstanding accomplishments to date have brought you successfully across one finish line, there is always another goal in sight, and these questions will help you set and achieve that next goal and even the one after that. Allow me to offer some suggestions that I believe will allow you to engage in your GW experience in a deep and meaningful way, and to carry away with you the skills that will allow you to succeed in both career and life. But first, I'm curious. By a show of hands, how many of you maintain a Facebook account? Well, it's clear from that response that you've determined that Facebook has an important role to play in your ability to stay connected with friends and family, as well as to follow current events and social causes that are of importance to you. Through this medium, you are constantly reinforcing connections and making new ones. In fact, there are approximately 17 million Facebook users between the ages of 18 and 24. That's up 20% just from last year. Now, my own age group has seen a nearly 200% jump since last year, so be careful. You never know who you might find there. And by the way, GW has a Facebook presence, and I urge you to become a fan if you haven't already. Of course, social networking doesn't require a computer. You now find yourself among a diverse group of faculty, staff, and students with whom you'll be interacting during your time here. I urge you to build your own non-virtual on-campus network. As your academic opportunities take off during your time at GW, this new network will expand with you and allow you to be a part of exciting developments and innovations in your areas of study. Talk to your classmates, and your circle of friends will grow to include students with similar academic interests, stimulating debate and discussion. Now, in addition to that, invite your faculty into conversation, and you will find that they can add whole new layers to your network. They can add research opportunities, support in your studies, and connections to vital centers of study and action at and near GW. The expertise of GW's faculty spans time and technology, revealing ever more exciting horizons of study. As you've already heard, our faculty have made major contributions, like the example that President Knapp just gave a while ago about James Clark's work with the finding and learning about the unique beak plant-eating dinosaur. But there are others, like the 1.5 million-year-old human ancestral footprint fossils that were found in Kenya and unearthed by Professor Brian Richmond and his team. At the Fulton Shakespeare Library, for example, GW undergraduates work with the library's centuries-old texts in an unprecedented book history course, learning how the earliest books were made and the role they played in shaping culture. Cutting-edge work is happening at the GW Institute for Nanotechnology, which moves, manipulates, and studies materials 1 million times smaller than a pinhead, paving the way for new discoveries in mechanics, electronics, the environment, and eventually healthcare. As you grow your academic network, use this time and GW's resources to uncover or further develop your own capabilities in several key areas. Learn to write effectively, learn to read critically, and learn to think analytically. Learn to argue issues with solid understanding, and learn to appreciate the humanistic side of life. Each of these skills will certainly serve you well in a chosen career, but each will also allow you to mold yourself for the future, for a lifetime of learning and self-discovery. GW stands ready to support you in these endeavors. Our faculty, of course, is our best resource. Do take advantage of them. When something inspires you in class, stay a few minutes afterward to talk to your professor about it. Attend office hours early and often to tap your instructor's knowledge and experience as a supplement to regular class sessions. Make a point of meeting your professors face to face. Their stories are fascinating and inspiring. Your fellow students, the very people sitting to your left and right now, bring a wide range of experiences and learning styles with them to the GW campus. Take advantage of GW's diversity to expand your own horizons. Start or join a study group to broaden your understanding of material presented in class, and challenge yourself constantly. Delve deep into your chosen field of study by seeking out special events on campus, proposing a research project, and connecting with expertise local to the GW campus. Explore an entirely new field and see where a newfound intellectual passion takes you. Learn a new language, one of the most valuable efforts you can undertake in our shrinking world. This is a heady and challenging set of endeavors, and help is here when you need it. Your academic advisor, who has already helped you select and register for your courses, is well-trained and eager to help you develop your course of study. The University Counseling Center offers a wide range of services, from academic progress groups, which meet regularly to discuss academic success strategies, to podcasts on topics such as reducing test anxiety and ways to prevent procrastination. Peer advisors at the Writing Center and resource librarians at Gelman Library can help you to find paper topics and provide the resources to develop strong arguments in a paper. The Mount Vernon campus, just minutes away by shuttle, provides tutoring services in several subjects as well as monthly conversation groups in foreign languages. And the Office of Disability Support Services offers support for different learning styles. These are just a few examples of the many ways in which GW stands ready to help you succeed in whatever you choose to study here. Now it's up to you. Take the leap, take the initiative, and take some academic risks. You have built your online network to expand your social connections and awareness. Now create your own GW network by joining a group, becoming a fan, inviting a friend, and discover just how limitless the possibilities truly are. Thank you very much. Now it's my very great pleasure to introduce the deans who join us today. I will introduce the deans in the order of the founding of their schools. Would Peg Barrett, the Dean of the Columbian College of Arts and Sciences, please come forward?
It is my great pleasure to invite the 189th class of Columbian College, the core of the liberal arts and sciences at the George Washington University, to please stand and remain standing.
Would David Dolling, Dean of the School of Engineering and Applied Science, please come forward?
It is my pleasure to invite the freshmen in the School of Engineering and Applied Science, now celebrating its 125th year of launching leaders to solve the technological challenges facing the nation and the world, to please rise and remain standing.
Would Susan Phillips, Dean of the School of Business, please come forward?
Thank you. As Dean of the School of Business, the only school of business located 4 blocks from the Federal Reserve, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, I'm proud to invite the freshmen in the school to please rise and remain standing.
Would Mike Brown, Dean of the Elliott School of International Affairs, please come forward?
If you draw a line from the White House to the State Department and another line from the World Bank to the Fed, those 2 lines intersect at one and only one place, GW's Elliott School of International Affairs. May I ask the freshmen to please rise?
And finally, would Loretta DiPietro, Chair of the Department of Exercise Science in the School of Public Health, please come forward?
On behalf of Interim Dean Joseph Room, it is my pleasure to welcome the incoming class to perhaps the most progressive and politically activated schools of public health in the world. Would the incoming class to the School of Public Health and Health Services please rise and remain standing?
President Knapp, I am delighted to present to you the class of 2013.
We will conclude the convocation and conduct the academic recession with a familiar song, you can hear it, the GW Fight Song.